All right, so first things first is I'm gonna start with the base drawer. So I've got the base drawer here. This is that step plate. I'm gonna line up where my screws are. I'm gonna try to count the screws so you guys can know. So you see, that's gotta line up, they've all gotta line up. So I'm going to set my phone down in order to do this. So just give me a quick second. Hopefully this is okay. And I'm pretty sure that all of the screws are the same size. They look like they are all the same size. So of course, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and do this, and I'll probably speed this up in the video. I'll take it apart. Or well, put it together. There you go. All fine. All right, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Done. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna. Well, might as well. So then it just gets in here. And you have that black little thing. The thing goes back on here. Let's see. Let's go ahead and put this part back on here. And you know, if right now while everything's taken apart, this doesn't completely sit back in here the exact way it needs to, that's okay. It should once that you get everything put back together. You can kind of see the grooves right here. But let's say like you get it like that, I think you'll kind of know where it needs to be sat once you have it all together. So there's that. All right, let's go ahead and get this liner in here. So I'm just going to, it kind of needs to be dried a little bit and wiped in. So remember, that's where that magnet is. I'm probably gonna have to replace this at some point because you can see that the cats are scratching because my cats are crazy. There's the lip. You see how there's a lip right here. It goes right over that. And that's on both sides. Okay, so I'm gonna set this down while I do this. This goes over the lip, but then see all this, it goes like into that all the way around. Okay. See, just pops right back in there. Very easy. If I had had one video to look at last night, this would have gone a lot faster. And I am just, this is still a little wet, see? So, and honestly, I may end up having to replace that. So I'm gonna take my towel and dry that, and then I will be right back. All right, so one more thing I did want to show you about the liner. So I've got it all in here now, and it really is just as simple as popping it back in. I know I didn't show it. So popped it all in, got it all scooted around here, which this is gonna end up coming up for me later, I know that. But don't forget about that black screw. Goes right up in there. I don't know if I can do this with one hand. All right, friends, so this black thing right here, whenever you take it out, there is supposed to be a nut down here to screw this into, okay? Unfortunately, I lost mine last night, so that's okay. Everybody makes mistakes. I'm probably just gonna have to go find one. I don't think that it's super vital. Of course, it's gonna keep this thing from moving around, but I'm gonna leave that in there for now, and I think it'll be okay. I hope nobody gets mad at me for forgetting to point that out. But yeah, there should be a nut. So, oh, and also the easiest way I found to put this in here is pull the liner up and stick that into the liner first, and then maneuver around with this hand to go through this hole. Okay, friends. So let's see which part. No, and as you can see, this part is already coming off. That's just a me thing. If anybody has any suggestions, you know, have at it. I'm all about helping other people. I'm just doing this to help others. So, okay. So, one hand. Now line it all up. It's gonna sit right up in there. Oh, it sits like on this side of that. So you can kind of see. And of course, you gotta, you know, line everything up. Lining everything up on both sides. You see how it just kind of sits in there. See how this lip's kind of coming out? I would try to push it up in there while I push this part down. Let me see. Yep. Let me see how, whenever we do this screw, we may have to push this side. We have to push it in. But So from there, you just screw everything back in. And don't forget, these are the screws in disguise that take those white little plugs. Mine looks a little beat up, but yep. Okay, so so earlier I said that these screws were all the same size, so they pretty much are. All of these. This long one with the washer, and then there's probably supposed to be a nut. That one, this long one, goes to these two. Okay. I'm gonna kind of do this how you would do like a tire, like take, don't do them like all in a row. I'm gonna do this one, and then I'm gonna do this one, and then probably one in the back, and then kind of take turns. I don't really know if that makes a difference on the litter robot, but it does on a tire, so might as well. Okay, so I'm gonna get that done, and then I will count the screws. All right, guys, so some things that I ran into putting the screws in. One, as you can see, so those back screws are the hardest ones to put in, and I had to get somebody to help me. But also, see how this liner's coming out? You don't want it to be like that. You want it to be flush in here. So I'm gonna have to take out this screw, maybe this screw, in order to put that back in there, and then screw them back. Okay. I'm about to do that, but I'll do it off video. Also, so I did do these like a tire, but maybe you could do them better. So the screws that were hard were these two, well, these three, and I had to have somebody come in and push this down so that I could get it lined up in here. It is still only hand tightened, but I just could not push this down and put a screw in here at the same time. And also, as you can tell, I can't see the liner from this end, so it's pretty easy to make that mistake, so just look out for it. Okay, I will be right back. All right, you guys, so my dogs are outside right now, so I'm gonna talk a little louder, but I'm ready to get this done and over with. So I was wrong. The hardest part of this is making sure the lip is underneath this. So it's not just it has to be underneath it, like it really needs to be underneath and behind, because there's that groove in there, like even right here is kind of bad. But really, probably putting the top part of it on is a two-person job, because you have to have somebody push this part down in order to be able to line the screws up from the outside, and then whoever, maybe a three-person, I don't know, it may be super if you have three people. Well, we just did it for two, but if you have somebody push this down, and whoever's screwing the stuff in, just make sure that this lip is in that groove back under there. Behind this, you'll be okay. So let's count again. I haven't put my plugs back on, but I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then that was 6, and then that one is 7, and then it all fits back on there, and then it's on there. All right, so I would actually go ahead and wait until this moment after the top globe's on and everything to be able to do this, because then you can pull this part up without worrying about it coming undone, and find that hole right there and kind of stick it in, kind of like an earring, and then find that hole down here and kind of just stick it in. And eventually, when you have two hands to use, you can do it. And then again, once it gets to that hole, which mine already came out because I'm doing this from him, you just put that nut in there. You can kind of see it a little better if we do this, and then you'll be good. And then the whole thing will be put back together, minus that part and the bonnet. So I will be right back. Now I have to put that thing back on. So remember, it's going to end up going through back inside and through here. But the only tricky part about this really is getting it back in there, because as you can see, it's bigger than the globe. So you do have to be pretty gentle. So I would really only do this like if you absolutely have to. Mine could probably stand a little bit more wiping down. It's actually, okay, so I know I'm touching this with my hands, but I've washed it down really well last night, so it's okay. And anything that's on it at this point is probably dirt. If it's not, let's just pretend like it is. All right, so let's kind of show how this goes in here. So remember, this part goes to the right side of the globe, and this is to the left, okay? And make sure that you don't have it upside down, because you might be able to fit this in here, but you really want to be able to have it the right way the first time you get it in here. I don't think taking this out frequently is that great of a good idea. I know that there's litter that gets underneath this and everything. You know, it's just, you don't really want to scrape your liner or anything. And then the way you do have to get this in here, you do have to kind of sort of bend it, but I mean, it's pretty, this side's pretty flexible, so it's okay. I want to point out again that this part was really disgusting whenever I cleaned it. And then you can replace this part. This part, it just had a lot of like, really just, it was really, really gross. Okay, just really, really gross. So, all right, let's get to it. So I kind of, I'm gonna try to show you, kind of bend this in. See, I'm kind of bending it in to fit it in there, and I kind of just squish it together, literally, and kind of maneuver it in. And then it's in. Okay, obviously it can't stay there, so just stick it back up in that hole. You know, you gotta line up your little things again, the screws, and then this part, like the square on this part goes into that, and then you end up screwing from the outside in, and then it's in. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that adjusted, and then I will show you what it looks like before you get it screwed in, and then I'll show you what it looks like after you get screwed in. Okay, right back. So don't neglect how this looks in here before you screw it in. Okay, like I think this is a little bit too far to the left, and actually I think that's supposed to go there, and that may help with the sliding thing, but okay, so that's how it looks on the inside. And again, always check on the inside before you screw in the back. This is how it should look back here. You're not supposed to be able to see the felt from the outside. Screw goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, have at it. Alright, so the amount of time that it took me to do that was probably too much. So this is where, like, you can't really get your finger in there. This is where that magnetic screwdriver or, you know, hand whatever would probably do really well, because the amount of times that I dropped this down here to the ground was probably too high. Anyway, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so here's this and this plug, and that's the screw, and that's the washer. Okay, so this plug goes in there, so you gotta put that screw in there. Don't forget the washer. This is the key, and it'll fit into that little groove right there. Stick your arm through here, right there, put it on the plug, key on the plug right there, and as you're holding that, push it out, push the plug out, and then you can use your screwdriver to screw this in. Remember, hand tight so you don't strip the screws. Whenever I had my fiance come out here to push this down for me whenever I was getting these screws in right here, he did mention that next time we do this we might get some longer screws, or not some longer screws but some newer screws. You know, you could just get those from Lowe's in order to make sure that they don't get some type of way. So I will say this is normally a pretty good amount, you know, if you want to kind of do this monthly, or like if you really only have one cat, and or even if you have like 7 cats and they're not super dirty. Mine's crazy. Okay, this is normally the amount that people break it down. You just get the bonnet off, which I'm gonna go ahead and put that back on right now, and then you pull this drawer out, and people clean this out, and then sometimes, of course, you'll take this globe off of the base literally by just lifting it. It just sits in there, and hose down this globe. You don't have to take this off. You don't have to take the globe apart. You don't have to take that sifter off. That's just something that I did. The last part that goes in, so really, like, you think the bonnet kind of looks the same front and back, but it actually doesn't. There's really no way to put it on backwards because of the tabs that they do have. You could probably also stick this in here without putting that tab in, so just make sure that you get these tabs done. Oh, and then because now it's stuck. Whew, I'm out of breath, y'all. There you go. So just stick that in there, stick that, kind of line it up, out. So that is kind of a thing. And you know, I do the same thing this side. Don't judge my laundry room. This is where we're remodeling. So this is the plug. It goes right here. Make sure that you plug it into this before you plug it up. That's my dog. I have to keep closing the door so that she doesn't come in here. I put a normal litter box out. It's dirty right now. I put a normal litter box out while I cleaned this, so I'm going to go ahead and test this before putting, you know, setting this all up, just to make sure that it works. I would say that this is probably a good idea for you guys to do too. Always make sure that it works before you pour a bunch of new litter in here, and you know, it'll just make things harder, and it'll maybe make you waste money because picking up litter is hard. This is how it looks inside. I've got it all on. I'll put this back on here. Okay, this just comes off. Cat for tax. And then you guys kind of get the gist. I don't know if I need to keep this on so that you know that it keeps turning, but that's really all. I'm going to go ahead and leave this on so you know that it does correctly function, and the litter does come back out on that side whenever it turns back around. Well, it turns back out on this side. I always forget. And there's all my litter. And also, don't really ever, this is not enough litter to keep in here. But this is just a test run, so it's okay. I feel like this could be better in here, maybe. There's the light, and it still works, and we're all good. There you go.